6 start under Dave Shula, but since Bruce Coslett has taken over the team, they have won 4 of 5 and are a much different club.
Exactly, Dan. Bruce Coslett has brought a new attitude to this team. He preaches accountability and responsibility. He has no problems in going into team meetings and telling guys when they've done something wrong and that they need to improve. Now, although he's posted a 4-1 record as the head coach, he's still the interim coach. They have not made a commitment to him. A guy that they would like to see that commitment made to him is quarterback Jeff Blake. Jeff Blake, whom was drafted by Coslett and the Jets, also doesn't want to have to learn a new system.
We also could see a very interesting collision of statistics, if you will. The Cincinnati Bengals lead the NFL with a +17 turnover ratio, and turnovers have killed Jacksonville all season long.
Particularly today with the wet weather, turnovers will be a key. But Coughlin told us that there are 3 things that are key to this season. They are field position, which has been very poor. They're 25th in the league. Total penalties, they're the most penalized team. They've got a minus turnover ratio. They've got to improve in these areas if they're going to win.
Both teams at 5 and 7 entertain very slim playoff hopes. And we'll be right back for the kickoff to a rainy and windy Jacksonville right after this. First, the featured back since Bruce Coslett took over. Remember, no Bengals player has had a 100-yard rushing game in 61 straight, and with the rain today, it might be even a little bit more difficult. Hollis kicks off to David Dunn for Cincinnati, and here's the reverse, actually the fake reverse, as Dunn kept it.
Fake reverse, Dan, and they didn't bite for it. Jacksonville did a good job of containing both sides of the field. That one, both taking away the fake.
And here comes Jeff Blake out onto the field. Blake threw 4 touchdown passes for the 2nd time in his career last week against the Falcons. Up front, a couple of rookies. Willie Anderson, the rookie out of Auburn, and Ken Blackman, a 3rd-round pick out of Illinois. Garrison Hurst, the featured back. Brian Milne again starts for Jeff Cochran, who is inactive today, out with an injury. Pickens and Scott, the wideouts, as the Bengals begin from just across the 15-yard line. 1st and 10, and Blake to pass on 1st down. Pressure, gets rid of it, and it is complete to Garrison Hurst out of the backfield. A little bit as we set Jacksonville's defense for you. Up front features Clyde Simmons, who set the Jaguars record with 7.5 sacks with another sack last week. Recorded his 100th career sack in his 11-year career. The linebackers led by the 2nd player picked overall in the draft, Kevin Hardy, the rookie out of Illinois. Beasley is a rookie out of West Virginia. He's been forced into that starting lineup because the Jaguars have been hurt by injuries in the defensive secondary. 2nd down and 6. Hurst gets the carry right up the middle, and that'll bring up 3rd down as he's stopped by John Yurkovich of Jacksonville.
Dan, that was a good job by John Yurkovich. He's probably the best run protector on this defense. A guy that they put in the middle. He's hard to move when he doesn't want to move, and he's good at stopping the run.
Hurst got almost up to the sticks, but that'll bring up 3rd down and 1 for Jeff Blake, making his 38th straight start. Tops among AFC quarterbacks, but a crucial 3rd down and short conversion for the Bengals on their opening drive. And Blake will try to loft it up to the near side to Carl Pickens, who makes another outstanding catch, and that was what worked last week in the big win over Atlanta, as Pickens had 176 yards last week. Dan, reception yards. That one good for 26.
Dan, this is a classic. When Cincinnati was doing well last year and making things happen, Blake throws the ball up and he lets Pickens run for it. Pickens has outstanding leaping ability. In addition, he has the speed, football speed, which he can go get the football. He did it on that occasion.
1st and 10 from the Jacksonville 49. And to give again to Garrison Hurst, who pops it 3 into the secondary, and he's got another Cincinnati 1st down. Garrison Hurst, who rushed for over 1,000 yards for the Arizona Cardinals last year before coming in to Cincinnati's offensive set.
Dan, the play was designed to go to the right side of the line. The defense flowed. There was some good cutback lanes. Garrison Hurst has the ability, the quickness to take advantage of that, and he goes for a good gain.
So a good opening series for the Bengals. at the Jacksonville 30 now after the big burst by Hurst.
Jacksonville wants to establish a run. They haven't been doing that this year. They told us that's something they wanted to do.
Quick drop near side. This time Carl Pickens cannot hang on to it, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Pickens came into this week's game as the 2nd leading receiver as far as catches in the NFL, and he most likely will pass Herman Moore, who took over the lead as the Lions played on Thanksgiving. So Pickens working with just one less game than Herman Moore.
Throwing a quick little hitch to Pickens like that, to them, is much like a run. They like to get the ball to Pickens and then go one-on-one with the safety. They've got Aaron Beasley on him right now.
Kajana Carter and Eric Bieniemy into the offensive set, and this is Kajana Carter getting the 2nd down and 10 call, dropped by Tom McManus, and it is Kajana Carter who had no carries last week, as Coslett has made it very clear that Hurst is his man.
The Bengals offensive front does a good job of staying on the Jacksonville Jaguar players long enough to get a good gain. They got a 5-yard gain. It keeps it manageable now that's only 3rd and 5. Particularly when it's wet like this, you can't get into those long 3rd down situations. You want to be in short, manageable 3rd down situations where you still have the opportunity to run the ball. Jeff Blake said that he expects to run the ball a little bit today.
Pass at that time, and it's deflected at the line of scrimmage by Jacksonville.
Looks like Jeff Lageman got up in the air, blocked the ball. This is something that maybe in watching the Cincinnati Bengals that they've done a little bit of scouting, because Cincinnati is known as a defensive front that'll stop on those quick 3-step drop, jump up and block it, and you saw them do that. You saw Jacksonville do that on that play.
So here is Doug Pelfrey on to attempt a 42-yard field goal, and this could give him the NFL's most accurate field goal kicker label if he can get it from the block. And here come the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Mickey Washington, who will go the distance.
Big play. Talking about turnovers, that's a turnover. Block the kick. Special teams come through for him in that situation. He recovers, and Mickey Washington runs it all the way in for the touchdown. You watch on the end zone replay.
Clyde Simmons appeared to have blocked it, Bart, number 96.
Clyde Simmons has a history of blocking it. When I was with the Giants, I can't tell you how many times I saw Clyde Simmons do that. He just has the ability to get enough penetration, gets his hands up, great timing. He was able to get in there. Clyde Simmons has been able to do it. He's done it time and time again through his career. Makes a big play.
And off to the races was Mickey Washington.
Clyde Simmons has blocked, before that block, 8 kicks in his career, field goals and extra points.
Washington goes 63 yards on the return after the Clyde Simmons block. And the rain continues to fall here in Jacksonville as Mike Hollis comes in to attempt the extra point. And he booms it through. The Cincinnati Bengals were on the move, an impressive opening drive before it ended on the blocked field goal and the touchdown return by Mickey Washington. Mickey Washington's 63-yard return of the blocked field goal by Clyde Simmons has taken Jacksonville to an early 7-0 lead, and the Jaguars series with the Bengals has not been good. They've lost all 3. In fact, Cincinnati has come back in a couple of those ball games to seal the fate of Jacksonville, but the Jaguars get on top early and score first.
While Cincinnati's had a very poor road record over the last few years, this is one place last year they won. And so they know they can win, but when they make plays like that, or rather when they allow the other team to make plays like that, it puts you behind the 8 ball.
Hollis kicking off to David Dunn, who comes up and fields it close to the 10-yard line and drives up the middle close to the 25-yard line, and that is where the Bengals will begin yet another series as we take you back to the score by Jacksonville.
We'll watch right here in the middle where it's circled, Clyde Simmons. He's going to get a push on the tackle. The tackle has to take a step back, times it, puts his hands up. He's a tall guy, good timing. It wasn't particularly, he didn't come free, but just got enough push and his hands high enough to make the block. And Mickey Washington goes in for the touchdown.
Bengals from the 25 with another 1st and 10. And a fake to Hurst. Rolling right, he wanted the tight end, Troy Sadowski. Incomplete on the coverage was Kevin Hardy, the very first defensive player drafted in the NFL draft this year, and has been very impressive. In fact, coming off probably his best game of his rookie season.
Paul Fraze comes in and makes a hit on Jeff Blake. They're using a lot more rollouts to avoid the pressure. This offensive line for the Bengals is a young offensive line. Blake's been hit a lot, been sacked a lot. They're trying to use these rollouts and these bootlegs to give him a little more time to throw the ball. Paul Fraze does a good job there, forcing him to throw the ball before he wanted to.
On 2nd and 10, Blake dumps it off to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy still on his feet across the 25-yard line, but just across the line of scrimmage before Eddie Robinson brings him down.
Good pursuit by the Jaguars defensive front. Thinking that when there's pressure from the defensive front, they're going to throw the screen. Try to throw the screen. They get Brackens to come inside. It's open. John Yurkovic reads it. Eddie Robinson comes up, makes him cut inside, then he recovers and makes the play.
3rd down and 9. Cincinnati with 3 wideouts. Joining Scott and Pickens is David Dunn. And Pickens once done, and that is picked off by guess who? Mickey Washington.
Very poor decision by Jeff Blake in that case. He wasn't being pressured. He was sitting back there. The offensive line was giving him time. He had room. He made a poor throw. It's difficult to say, but it may have looked like the ball had no zip on it. It may have slipped out of his hand. A wet ball has a tendency of doing that.
Huge game so far by Mickey Washington, and a disappointing turnover by the Bengals, who already trail at 7-0.
This is the Pontiac Bonneville, one of the world's most powerful.
On NBC.
Mickey Washington, former Patriot, Redskin, played with the Bills in 93 and 94 with his first interception of the 96 season, and Jacksonville in good shape at the Bengal 39, already leading 7-0. 10:24 left in the first quarter. And for the first time, Mark Brunell is on the field, and he's got his first pass completed. As we take a look at Jacksonville's offense, they lead the NFL in passing yards. Up front is Baselli, Coleman, Wydell, and Rich Tilsky at right guard position for the injured Brian DeMarco. Leon Searcy on the right tackle position, and Natron Means gets his first start since the middle of last season when he started for the Chargers before the injury. Keenan McCardell, Jimmy Smith, Brunell's wideouts. A good gain. 2nd down and 2 as Natron Means gets his first carry of the game, and the former Charger All-Pro running back bowling his way for a first down, brought down by Bo Orlando. And the Jacksonville Jaguars go against a very opportunistic Bengal defense. Dan Wilkinson leads AFC interior lineman with 6 sacks. He's on that front 4 of the Bengals. The linebackers McDonald. Steve Tovar has 4 interceptions, had 2 last week. In fact, the Bengals defense has 28 interceptions. It leads the NFL. Ashley Ambrose's 8 picks leads the league. And on the other corner, Jimmy Spencer has 5. But it's been the Bengals who have made the early turnovers early in this one. And Natron Means gets another call, bouncing his way close to the 15-yard line before Bo Orlando brings him down. Natron Means, who really had played a big role in the winning overtime drive last week for Jacksonville, had not had any real key opportunities before last week.
Exactly, Dan. He wants to get the ball. He wants to get it 15 to 20 times a game to get into a rhythm. He gets out there, he gets a good 7-yard gain. When your safety is making the tackle, he's the first guy to hit the running back. That's not a good sign.
Natron Means in there for James Stewart, who is nursing a sprained toe. Means gets the call. This time bowls his way for an extra effort yard just inside the 15. James Stewart is active today, but he played limited after the 3rd quarter last game. Also had a shoulder stinger, but Natron Means gets his first start as a Jaguar. He, of course, was the big free agent signee for Jacksonville, and you can see what he did in '94 when he led the Chargers to the Super Bowl with that 1350-yard mark.
And in '95, he was having a good season until he had a groin injury. And from there, they became very sour on him.
Third and short. Means picks up the first down. It'll be first and goal for Jacksonville. Gracie Walker on the stop.
This is just pure power offense right here. We haven't seen this from the Jacksonville front offensive line. They stay up. They get involved with the defensive front. Natron Means is a guy that runs low and he runs hard. They get the push. They stay on their blocks. This is what they need to do. They've been talking about doing this all season. They've wanted to get a push. They want to get the running game going to take some of the pressure off Mark Brunell in the passing game.
Brunell pumps once, goes toward the end zone looking for Jimmy Smith. Incomplete. A big week last week for Jimmy Smith, who is starting for the departed Andre Rison, who has gone to Green Bay. 8 catches, 131 yards for Smith last week.
Jimmy Smith slips a little bit on this play. He's going inside. They pump it to him. He slips a little bit. Otherwise, he would have been in position to make that touchdown catch. Very well thrown ball by Mark Brunell.
Jimmy Spencer, the Bengal corner, slipped as well on that play. Natron Means left side, banging his way for 2 or 3 more yards. Bo Orlando brings him down. That'll bring up third down and goal for Jacksonville, trying to take advantage of the Mickey Washington interception. And Natron with a clump of grass above the face mask.
That's the way the game is supposed to be played, Dan. Get those guys, you get the field, it gets a little sloppy, a little messy. This is what the offensive linemen like. They like these soft surfaces, and when they hit the ground, you know, they feel a little splash of water underneath them. It's nice and easy on those big bodies.
Well, the rain has held off a little bit. It doesn't appear to be raining at this point. On third and goal, that one dropped, intended for Willie Jackson. And that'll bring up fourth and goal, and we will see Mike Hollis come on to attempt the field goal, so Jacksonville will settle for that instead of a touchdown.
They're in a shotgun formation. Brunell takes and just throws the ball out to Willie Jackson. Willie takes his eyes off the ball a little bit too early, and even if he hadn't, the safety had come up to make a play.
Well, it was Mike Hollis whose 34-yard field goal won the game in overtime last week for Jacksonville. He had missed a 41-yard field goal in the third quarter of last week's game, and really even his overtime kick wasn't his best, but this one is good. No doubt about that one, as Jacksonville has taken advantage of a couple of early Bengal miscues on its way to a 10-0 lead.
I'm Tiger Woods.
I'm Tiger Woods. I'm Tiger Woods.
6:24 left in the first quarter. Bruce Coslet, 4-1 the Bengals are under his helm, but up to a 10-0 deficit here in Jacksonville. Mickey Washington has been prominent in both Jacksonville scores as David Dunn takes Hollis's kick, and Dunn has some room across the 40. Hollis trying to get an angle on him, brings him down at the 42. Excellent return by David Dunn. 5th-round draft pick last year out of Fresno State.
Good blocking by the front of the Cincinnati Bengals kickoff return team. They give him a hole. He runs right up the middle. Stay on the blocks. Dunn makes the outside cut. Hollis keeps the sideline to him. Does a good job of preventing the touchdown, but the Bengals get great field position. This is what they need. They need somebody to step up and make some big plays.
From the Jaguar, 42. And he'll keep it on the ground. Garrison Hurst gets a burst up the middle.
Garrison Hurst carries.
Garrison Hurst doesn't exactly have fond memories of this stadium, Bart. When he played for Georgia, he told us last night that we never won here. The annual world's largest cocktail party game. He said we were 0-3. Florida beat him all 3 times, so he wants to exercise some of those bad memories from this field.
He said he scored some touchdowns, but they never won, so he wants to win a game here.
Gain of 3 for Hurst. And they give him a ball again, left side. Hurst close to a Bengal first down at the 33 or 34-yard line, and a good block by Rich Bram up front before Dana Hall made the defensive stop for the Jaguars.
Rich Bram, the right guard, pulls around.
Bengals first down.
The left guard pulls around, gets good contact on Eddie Robinson, gets a good push, and they get right down next to a first down situation, like a short third down manageable situation.
Very young offensive line up front. Bart, we mentioned that Willie Anderson at left tackle and Ken Blackman at right guard are rookies, and really this is the first year as a starter for Rich Brand. He was on IR all last year with an ankle injury.
And all of their backups are young guys. The backups, the guards and the tackles are guys who don't have any playing experiences. They only have 2 veterans on that offensive front. That's Derek Brills, the center, and Joe Walter, the right tackle, who've been there anchoring that part of the line for many years. This is a group that's given up a lot of sacks this year. Jeff Blake's been hit. Last year they gave up 25. This year they have 40-41 sacks.
Well, Bruce Coslett actually pulled Jeff Blake from the Buffalo game a couple of weeks ago because he was worried about Blake getting killed out there. Buffalo was just rushing all over Blake, and it really was Blake's poorest game as a pro, but he has since bounced back with a big game last week against Atlanta.
A little confusion with the Bengals. Blake wants to call a timeout, make sure that they get the right formation in there.
And we'll also step aside with 4:52 left in the first.
It's important for them to do something positive here, to get a couple more first downs, to at least score 3 points, if not 7 points.
Well, Bruce Coslett's very first game as the head coach for Cincinnati was against Jacksonville at the end of October, and Cincinnati won the ball game 28-21 in Cincinnati, and that began the 4-1 streak for Coslett. Jeff Blake, first down and 10 after the confusion, set under the center now.
When they have played, they've been close games so far.
Blake complete to Eric Bieniemy out of the backfield, and Bieniemy spun around. Aaron Beasley makes the stop. Let's take our first scoring update and head to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, in Baltimore, the Steelers fall behind but bounce right back from 30 yards out. Mike Tomczak for Andre Hastings. He'll find the end zone with the extra point. The Steelers and the Ravens are now tied at 7 apiece. First quarter, Dan.
All right, thank you, Greg. 10-0 Jacksonville. Second down and 5 for the Bengals. Blake just hands it off to Garrison Hurst. And Hurst is close to the first down, but I believe he will be short. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Tom McManus, the middle linebacker for Jacksonville, makes the stop.
Jacksonville does a good job of penetration. Eddie Robinson comes in there untouched. He has his hands on Jeff Blake. Jeff Blake is able to make the handoff, and they're able to get 4 yards. They're only a yard away from getting another first down. Offensive line, they let him go. They're a little confusion, it looked like. Couldn't tell whether it was the center that needed to block him or the left guard. They're in a short yardage defense here.
Good play action by Blake. He wants Carl Pickens, and he's got the touchdown.
Excellent call in that situation. 3rd and short. You're anticipating them running the ball up the middle, picking up the first down. Good play action fake. Sold it very well. Defense for Jacksonville was completely confused.
8th touchdown reception of the season for Pickens, and after last week, Blake and Pickens have regained their magic.
Pickens says, or Blake told us, that nobody can cover Pickens one-on-one. In that situation, when you've got 9 guys at the line of scrimmage, you're in 1-to-1. The middle of the field was wide open. That situation, they took full advantage of that. Blake has a very nice touch on the ball too, Dan. He's able to put the ball either over the top with a nice arc, or in that situation, right over the middle. Didn't try to overthrow it, threw it out there, and he let Blake run to the ball. There's the fake. Everyone bites on it. Blake just throws a nice ball. And here comes Pickens just to pick it up, run it in for the touchdown. Robert Massey can't stay with him. Pickens is too big. He jumps too high. He's got good route running ability. Pickens is a guy that told us earlier in the year the Pro Bowl really motivates him. He wants to go to the Pro Bowl. That's something that he set his sights on earlier in the year.
Well, a reminder, next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Pacific, it is the Office Depot Father-Son Challenge. Johnny Miller, our own NBC golf analyst, join other golf legends like Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, Raymond Floyd, as they team up with their sons in a unique format. It's the Office Depot Father-Son Challenge. Always a nice December golf event on NBC Sports. Next Saturday, right here on NBC. So the Bengals come back, take advantage of the David Dunn kickoff return, and score their first touchdown of the game. Bucky Brooks back to take it upfield for Jacksonville, and Brooks gets close to the 15-yard line before he's dropped by Cincinnati's Sam Shade.
Lee Johnson, the punter, does the kickoffs for Cincinnati. He punts the ball 2 or 3 yards deep there. Bucky Brooks wasn't real sure at the beginning. Should probably not have taken that ball out, but we'll see what Jacksonville can do with it, even though they don't have great field position. This is what we were talking about earlier in the game. Coughlin said it's the field position, one of the 3 areas that's been killing this team thus far.
And they begin from the 15. 3:17 left in the first quarter. Jacksonville up 10-7, and Brunell to pass on first down, going far down the field. The far side, that is Jimmy Smith, who makes the beautiful reception despite the close coverage by Jimmy Spencer.
What a throw to catch. Brunell just reaches back, and with just about everything he's got, he throws the ball up high and far, and he says, Jimmy, go run for it. Spencer's pretty close, but the ball is a well-thrown ball, and Jimmy Smith makes a good adjustment to widen out for the ball.
49-yard catch by Jimmy Smith. Jacksonville with a first down at the Bengal 36. Leads the team with that 14.2 average, and that 49-yarder will increase that as well.
That certainly helps things out. There's a guy that's been cut by 2 different teams.
Brunell looking, this time throwing it away. McCardell was out in the vicinity.
Jimmy Smith, early in his career, he was with Dallas. He won a Super Bowl ring with Dallas. He was cut by Dallas, went to Philadelphia, was cut by Philadelphia. A guy that has persevered. He's been in there, and now he's found a position. They just gave him a contract extension for 2 years, $2 million. He's a guy that this team is very high on. They think between he and Keenan McCardell that they've got 2 receivers that can take them a long way. They can particularly go out and get the balls that Brunell can throw to him.
Brunell with a quick drop, and he's got Willie Jackson on the far side. Jackson is spun around short of the first down. James Francis, the linebacker, out there with Jimmy Spencer. What a year it has been through the air for Mark Brunell. On pace for better than 4,500 passing yards. That would be the 9th most in NFL history. His NFL rank, 2nd in attempts with 443. 1st in completions. But he does have the 20 interceptions, Bart, and that has not helped his cause. 3rd and short. Brunell fires incomplete. He wanted Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith was there. Good coverage by Jimmy Spencer on that. Jimmy was burnt just 2 plays ago on the long pass. The inside pass, he didn't give him the room. He was there to knock the ball away.
So that brings up 4th down and 2. Ball at the 28. And Mike Hollis is on to attempt a 46-yard field goal. Already good from 25 yards out earlier.
This is always a difficult situation, particularly for a center. Dave Waddell's doing the snapping. He's the regular starter. His hands get a little wet. He does a good job of getting the ball down to the center.
And that one is right down the middle.
Good snap, hold and kick there.
Mike Hollis has hit 12 of his last 13 field goals. And he's given Jacksonville a 13-7 lead with 2:05 remaining in the first quarter.
Jacksonville does a good job of responding. The Bengals go down after the long return. They get a touchdown on the Blake to Pickens pass. Jacksonville comes out, even though the ball is on the 15-yard line. They have the poor field position. They go down and get 3 points. They prevent the Bengals from getting that momentum that they want to get back. You talk about Brunell's passing, Dan. He has a lot of yards passing, but Coughlin has told us he wants to get the ball to the running backs a little more, but we can see here that they're not afraid to throw the ball, even though it's wet outside. It's got some rain in the area. They're not afraid to put that ball up.
Jacksonville first road win of the season last week in Baltimore. Broke a 10-game more than a year, but it was the 5th victory for Jacksonville, which passes their win total last year in their first year at 4-12. But let's see if David Dunn can reel off another good kickoff return for Cincinnati. He helped set up their first score. Hollis's kick a little bit short as Dunn takes it up the middle, fighting his way to the 30-yard line, and that is where the Bengals will begin another drive. Jeff Kopp made the stop for Jacksonville on special teams.
David Dunn with another good return. Anytime you get out to the 30-yard line, that puts your offense in good field position. It allows them to execute every part of the offense they want to execute. Jeff Blake with the 1 touchdown to Pickens and also the 1 interception. The 1 interception was caused by Tony Brackens, the rookie defensive lineman for Jacksonville, who happened to come in late and just tip or graze the hand of Blake and called the errant pass.
Blake being chased and completes it over to Tony McGee, the tight end, brought down by Kevin Hardy. Well, despite the catch totals for Tony McGee being down a little bit this year, Bruce Coslett told us that the big tight end is playing harder and even better, but he's been left out of the offense just a little bit.
Both Loggeman and Simmons get pressure on Blake. Blake has the mobility to get out of the pocket. McGee keeps moving. Blake finds him. They get the pickup. Some positive yards. Good play-action fake thus far by the Bengals.
Garrison Hurst gets the call, and Hurst gets across the 40-yard line and should pick up the first down for Cincinnati. Chris Hudson comes up and makes the stop.
Jacksonville's defense has to learn to be more patient, meaning they've got to eliminate the cutback lanes. The ball again is supposed to go to the right. Clyde Simmons goes too far down inside. Troy Sandusky, the tight end, blocks him down, and Garrison just cuts back into the open spot, picks up the first down. They've got to be more disciplined and keep the lanes shut off.
43 yards already for Garrison Hurst, who takes a breather, and this is Kajana Carter. And Carter's got another first down, the Heisman Trophy winner, all the way up to the 37-yard line of Jacksonville. It was Kajana Carter, who really hasn't been the same, Bart, since the knee injury, a similar one that Garrison Hurst suffered.
Dan, in that case, in that play, the tackle, it was a tackle trap. Willie Anderson, the rookie left tackle, pulls. He opens up a hole for Garrison. Garrison runs through it. Good job by this offensive line so far, staying on the defensive front 7 for Jacksonville, creating the holes. They're running the ball like they want to run the ball.
End of the first quarter in Jacksonville. The Jaguars with a 13-7 lead. We're back in a moment. Dan Hicks, Bart Oates, back in overcast and rainy Jacksonville. The rain has held off after it rained steadily just before kickoff and a little bit during the game.
Garrison Hurst just reels off a nice run. First time he touched the ball in a couple of weeks. He didn't even get a carry last week. He's in the game a little bit, but they never gave him the ball.
You're talking about Kajana Carter.
Kajana Carter, that's right.
Garrison Hurst is up to 43 yards gained as flags come in and stop the play.
Jeff Loggeman moves, and looks like Joe Walters responded to it. We'll see who they call here.
False start. Number 63, offense. Moving prior to the snap.
Joe Walter, the 12-year veteran out of Texas Tech, called for the penalty.
The crafty veteran jumps off sides, but then again, he's going against Jeff Loggeman. Jeff moves a little bit. That could have been called against Jeff, because the rule is if you're in the neutral zone and you cause the offensive lineman to jump because you're in the neutral zone, they should go against the defense. It was a little close there. It was hard to tell, but it looked like Jeff might have been in the neutral zone when Joe Walter moved.
So Blake passes on 1st and 15, and he's got Garrison Hurst. And Hurst, all the way up the sidelines, is close to picking up the first down before he's run out of bounds by Mickey Washington.
Garrison Hurst comes out of the backfield. He's lined up on the left side. Nobody covers him. Tom McManus looks like he wants to get over there. He doesn't get there quick enough. Tom McManus, the middle linebacker, it's difficult for him to cover Garrison Hurst. Garrison's a quicker back. He's a slasher. It's a mismatch when you're trying to cover the running back like a Garrison Hurst with a middle linebacker like Tom McManus. Tom's a good run stopper, but he's not going to cover a Garrison Hurst.
Hurst trying to pick his hole after being stopped for what appeared to be a loss. We were talking about the comparisons between Hurst and Carter and their knee injuries, Bart. And Garrison Hurst told us last night, he says, you know, it really took me a long time to blossom. It took him about a year and a half or 2 years after his knee injury. And he also told us I really probably shouldn't have even have been playing in the first year.
Running back's having a good day. It's been 61 games since a Bengals back has gone for over 100 yards. Garrison's already got 45 today in the first half.
Second down and 8. Blake feels the pressure, and it is Dunn who juggles it and then drops it. Incomplete. Eddie Robinson on the coverage. That'll bring up third down.
Blake had to throw the ball. Threw it right on the numbers. Dunn's bouncing it up. This is one that a lot of times you see it intercepted. You see the tip balls that are being batted up in the air. Many times you see them intercepted by the defense in those situations. As a quarterback, as an offensive lineman, you're standing back there and you're watching that receiver just tip the ball up in the air. Seems like it takes an eternity to decide whether it's going to hit the ground or be intercepted or incomplete.
On third down and 8, Eric Bieniemy, a lone setback behind Blake. And Blake goes to David Dunn, and Dunn picks up the first down. It'll be first and goal for Cincinnati. Kevin Hardy brought Dunn down.
Dunn does a good job of waiting for the players to clear out. Takes that inside move. It's a zone with Massey, and there's nobody in the middle to take him.
Good reception by David Dunn, who, remember, had the nice kickoff return for Cincinnati to set up its first touchdown. Bengals trail at 13-7 on the move again.
David Dunn, the big third down receiver for him. 14 of 17 receptions been on third down.
Blake gives it to Hurst. Nothing down the middle. Heads out to the left and is strung out. And a nice tackle made there by Aaron Beasley, who is the rookie.
Aaron
Beasley filling in for a depleted secondary for Jacksonville. Vinnie Clark was released, and then Clark's replacement, Dave Thomas, out for the year with an injured broken leg.
Garrison running the ball on a draw play. He takes to the outside. He thinks he can get the corner on Aaron. Aaron's a good athlete. Tom Coughlin, when he was at Boston College, recruited Aaron Beasley, and Aaron turned him down, went to West Virginia. It looks like Tom got him anyway, and Aaron is performing pretty well for him. Aaron, as you said, they've had injuries to that cornerback position. He's the third cornerback that's played there this year.
Blake to the end zone, and that one almost picked off, intended for McGee.
Mickey Washington almost had his second interception of the game.
Ill-advised, that throw, really, by Blake, or he probably didn't even see Washington.
Let's watch Mickey Washington backing up in coverage. He's on Darnay, then he keeps backing up. Good alertness. Out of the corner of the eye, he sees Willie McGee get behind him. He's able to sift back into the end zone, get into the passing lane, makes the defense pass, almost makes the interception.
Third and goal from the 8. Fake pitch, inside handoff to John Carter, and Carter just gets inside the 5. That'll bring up fourth down, and the Bengals will have to settle for a field goal.
Dan, going back to that play by Mickey Washington, I mean, it was a good read by Mickey, but in that situation, when you get both hands on the ball like that, you've got to be able to make the catch. If they had made the catch in the end zone, it becomes Jacksonville's ball in the 20. As it is, he doesn't make it. Jacksonville, while they don't get or Cincinnati, while they don't get the touchdown, they do get the field goal attempt in this situation.
Last time Doug Pelfrey came out, Clyde Simmons blocked it, and Mickey Washington went the distance for a touchdown. This a short attempt of 22 yards, and that one slides inside the right upright. $13-10. Jacksonville's lead's cut to 3. Lee Johnson set to kick off for Cincinnati. Jaguars lead at 13-7. Short kick comes Bucky Brooks. And Bucky Brooks leads the rugby scrum across the 30-yard line. And a flag has been thrown in late in that skirmish. Sam Shade made the tackle for Cincinnati.
Bucky Brooks has come in here. He's replaced the injured Dave Thomas and has done a good job. They put him back there returning kicks.
And it is against Jacksonville.
Tom White calls the holding call. And Jacksonville again.
Illegal block in the back. Number 35. During the return, it's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
The poor field position again puts them in that poor field position that they don't like. That it creates that additional degree of difficulty.
Well, what we set out to tell you before Pelfrey's field goal was blocked on his first attempt was the next field goal that he makes will make him the all-time leader in field goal accuracy. You must have a minimum of 100 field goals made, so the 22-yarder made by Pelfrey just a moment ago makes him the most accurate kicker in NFL history, but he also admits that he's just borrowing the record because there are other kickers around the league, namely Chris Bowman of Dallas, who will probably surpass him as Brunell is on the mark to Willie Jackson.
Willie Jackson coming big, coming to the middle, making some big plays here in the first half for this team. Isolate on Willie here. Corey Sawyer, who is on him, just does not cover him tight enough. He's looking at Mark. He loses sight of Willie Jackson. And Mark has that gun where he can throw that ball, and it's going to get there in a hurry.
And there goes Natron Means, brought down by Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, who's having another fine season. He's got 5 sacks in 3 career games against Jacksonville. Really, if you look at the Bengals' history against Jacksonville, it's been Pickens on offense who has burned them, and Big Daddy on defense who has led the way.
In the first game, the defensive tackles for Cincinnati got some big push on the offensive guards for Jacksonville, caused Mark Brunell into some bad decisions, prevented him from getting the time he needed.
Natron Means close to the 40 and close to another first down. Jimmy Spencer came up from the corner position to wrap up Natron Means.
Let's take a look at Natron here. From the sideline, he comes through. Let's do a good job of blocking in on with the tackle, Willie Anderson, and blocking, or rather with Tony Baselli, and blocking out with Coleman. They open up a nice hole. He picks up a good gain.
4 wide receivers in the set for Brunell on 3rd and just over a yard. Ball at the 40-yard line at Jacksonville. Brunell rolling to his left. Can he run for the first down? It'll be close. Steve Tovar, the leading tackler for the Bengals, ran him out of bounds close to the first down stick, but I believe the spot will leave Brunell short.
Looks like they're about short by about a yard. Brunell on the little rollout again, trying to avoid the pressure. Thinks he can make it. Good job by Steve Tovar. Steve is having a great year. Has 4 interceptions for this Cincinnati defense. He's doing a good job in the middle of directing the front. He's moving around. He's stuffing the run.
So Brunell not able to pick up the first down. Brian Barker in the punt, and it's a high, booming punt that hits at the 3-yard line and rolls into the end zone over the head of David Dunn. So Cincinnati will begin with a 1st and 10 at its 20-yard line with 9:20 remaining. That was a 60-yard punt by Barker.
Phenomenal tape that they had, the footage, Dan, when they had that crash.
Dateline NBC has had phenomenal video week after week. Cincinnati at the 20-yard line, trailing Jacksonville 13-10. 9:20 remaining in the second quarter. Jeff Blake, play action across the middle. He's got 44, Brian Milne. And Milne looks like he picked up the first down.
Milne, the rookie from Penn State.
That is the very first catch of his NFL career.
Last week he got the carry for a touchdown. This week they're going to play action pass. They leave Milne all by himself. Does a good job.
Picks up the first down out to the 35-yard line. Mill, the rookie out of Penn State.
Good vision by Jeff Blake.
And they gave to Garrison Hurst, trying to pick his way and find a hole. Nothing doing there as Eddie Robinson led the Jacksonville surge. Garrison Hurst tore the ACL in his left knee, and actually that was Carter. It was Hurst who got hurt early on in his career after being the #1 pick for the Cardinals.
Don Davies does a good job of pushing Rick Fromm back, preventing the running back from getting any kind of cutback or any kind of lane. Don Davies left Green Bay, came here as a free agent, says he absolutely loves it.
Blake steps up in the pocket. Darnay Scott has it. Darnay Scott in the clear. Run out of bounds deep into Jacksonville territory at the 17-yard line, but a flag is down in the Cincinnati backfield, and that usually means holding. No, Jeff Blake's
personal foul. Personal foul. Late hit on Blake.
So the 48-yard reception by Scott will stand. Here's another look at the late hit by Tony
Brackens. Puts his helmet right into the back of him. It's a needless play. He doesn't need to do it. Personal foul. Tom White saw it. They're going to protect the quarterbacks. In a situation like that, when there's no need to throw it, when there's no need to hit him.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 90. Defense. It'll be half the distance. First down.
You know, Bart, I have seen some inconsistencies in the way this penalty is called this year. And, you know, it wasn't much of the hit by Brackens, but I guess it's the intent as the penalties continue to mount for Jacksonville, which leads even the perennial leading Oakland Raiders.
That's got to surprise a few people. And particularly with a Tom Coughlin team. A Tom Coughlin team who, the disciplinarian, you think that he's going to have the small things like the penalties and turnovers in his favor.
Bengals first and goal from the 8. To the end zone, Carl Pickens for the touchdown. Touchdown number 2 for Pickens. And these guys heating up or what? Blake and Pickens.
Blake and Pickens. Blake will throw the ball, and he knows that Pickens is going to catch it. He throws it high in this situation. Pickens is a tall guy, a 7-foot leaper. From the ground, Pickens throws the ball. It's coming right at you. And Pickens goes up and catches it. He's got the great hands to grab it. Blake has the ability to deliver it. It's a dangerous combination when you're trying to defense it. And Aaron Beasley, the rookie quarterback, it's a very difficult matchup for him.
Doug Pelfrey adds to Cincinnati's first lead of this game, and it comes with 7:27 left in the first half as Pickens comes through with another touchdown in the rain in Jacksonville. And Brooks across the 30 for Jacksonville, brought down by Leonard Wheeler. I guess this is a typical northern Florida rain. The skies really have opened up.
It's raining hard. The ball is slippery. Got a little lightning up in the sky.
Carl Pickens, by the way, his second touchdown of the game just a moment ago. He had 3 touchdown receptions last week. And as we've mentioned from the very beginning, has been a huge factor in the Bengals' 3 straight wins over Jacksonville as the officials try to
see his attempt in keeping the ball dry. He's not even gonna put it. He's gonna put it on the ground right before the center gets to it. Waddell bends over it. He covers it with that rather large body of his.
Well, the Doppler radar screen looked a little ugly, Bart, as we looked at it before this game got going, and it is pouring. Brunell way downfield, incomplete. He wanted Keenan McCardell, so, you know, maybe the weather becomes a factor now, and you look at Jacksonville, which has been unable to get really a consistent running game going all season long, as they've always looked to their passing game to get going.
This causes a one dimension. Brunell he pumps it, he throws it. Tim Johnson gets in there, takes him down. Not going to let him throw the ball in unimpeded. That's what this front 4 of Cincinnati wants to do. They want to get a push. They want to get in his face. They want him to know that he's not going to have the time to sit back there and throw the ball.
Pretty low numbers for Brunell, as that one is incomplete. Again, Jimmy Smith, the intended receiver, out there with Ashley Ambrose
Brunell's pass intended
Jimmy
for
slips
Jimmy
again.
Defended by Ashley
This wet turf creates problems unto itself. You're not used to practicing on the wet stuff. You slip out, your feet are out. Ashley Ambrose is right there. Ashley said that even though he's leading the league, he's still seeing balls thrown his way because Jimmy Spencer is having a good season as well. So they can't go away from him and just pick on Jimmy Spencer.
Well, obvious passing down here. 3rd and 10 out of the shotgun. Brunell steps up, fires, ball is tipped. And incomplete. Steve Tovar, I believe, tipped the ball. And Bo Orlando is slow getting up. And Jacksonville just couldn't do anything with that series in the rain.
Incomplete. 4th and 10 at the 31.
A little slip again.
Tovar nearly had his 5th interception. He had 2 interceptions last week.
It looked like that was almost self-defense rather than an attempt at an interception.
So Barker back to punt again, and David Dunn back deep for Cincinnati at his 15.
We've got a subdued and a rather wet Jacksonville crowd with us right now.
14th consecutive sellout in Jacksonville, and they usually get 73,000 here. Not close to that with the weather. David Dunn steps up on not a particularly great punt at all by Barker. And I just saw a flash of lightning across the far side of the stadium.
Either that or a big bolt.
Well, we're undercover here in the broadcast booth, but the thunder has begun to roar as well. Second quarter, Cincinnati has taken over the lead 17-13. Bruce Coslett, the team 4-1 since taking over for Dave Shula. And if you take a look at this graphic, not only is the record improved, but along with it, points per game, and really most importantly, 4th quarter scoring. Coslett has had the team running after practice. He's not out there to beat them up by any means, but he just wants to get their aerobics up a little bit. And he says that's maybe one of the areas that they were weak in down the stretches of games late. Maybe the conditioning has helped turn that around.
The conditioning has helped. It's the attitude that he expects guys to play. They said that it's not an expectation so much as a demand. And these guys have responded. They've got the talent to do it.
Carl Pickens in the flat. And Pickens turns it into close to another 1st down for Cincinnati. Let's go to New York and another scoring update with Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, at Indianapolis, Buffalo's Todd Collins filling in for injured Jim Kelly struggled early on, but kind of found his touch here. This is Quinn Early on the receiving end of a 95-yard touchdown, the longest touchdown pass in Bills history. Buffalo added a field goal and have grabbed the lead over the Colts, 10-7, under 4.5 to play in the 1st half. Dan?
All right, thank you, Greg. Garrison Hurst on the carry for Cincinnati. Well, the Buffalo Bills impressive atop the AFC East, Bart, with a 9-3 record. Maybe they can get a win over the Colts today. They move to 10-3.
2nd and 5, Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Bills, after suffering a lot of injuries early in the season, having some adversity, have done well.
Well, speaking of coming back from adversity, the Bengals, after Mickey Washington took that blocked field goal and then the interception, have come back with 3 straight.
After spotting Jacksonville to a 10-0 lead, they've come back to take a 17-13 lead.
2nd and 5 from its own 45. Cincinnati again gives to Hurst. And Hurst out of bounds, close to a 1st down. He may have it, needed to get just across the 49. But Garrison Hurst, no doubt, the featured back for Coslett since he took over 5 games ago.
A lot of questions were asked. Why bring in a Garrison Hurst when you had a Kajana Carter, you had Eric Bieniemy? Gary shows why he's able to get around a good linebacker in Eddie Robinson, get to corner, and go out and pick up the 1st down.
56 yards by Hurst. Remember, the Bengals 61 straight games without a 100-yard rusher. The way Hurst is going, he may break that drought.
Should, if they keep running the ball, keep giving it to him.
On 1st down, Blake wanted Tony McGee, sails it over the tight end's head, and that brings up 2nd down and 10. Coslett was really impressed, Bart, with the way that Jeff Blake came back from perhaps his worst pro performance at Buffalo a couple of weeks ago. He really challenged Blake and said, you know, if you're one of the elite quarterbacks in this league, you'll come back and have a good game, and he did against the Falcons last week.
Yes, the Falcons, Cincinnati Bengals rolled up 460 yards offense. Blake throwing for 356. Was only sacked 1 time. No turnovers.
And the numbers show that he's been pretty sharp early, except for the lone interception. Big hole for Garrison. Hurst has another first down, but a flag is also down at the line of scrimmage, and that could come back.
Dan, usually in that situation, you look at not only where the flag is thrown, but the timing of when it's thrown.
And there's the holding call against the Bengals.
A lot of times you can pretty much tell what the call is going to be given the location and the time of the call in that situation, right when the offensive line is in.
Holding. Number 65. Offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, so far the rookies haven't had the penalties, Bart. It's been Joe Walter and then Derek Brill's called for that hold.
Derek Brill's in the middle of your screen. Just on.
I would say that registers as a takedown.
Well, it all depends on what the, if you're Bob Golick, you're saying it's a takedown. If you're not a former offensive lineman, I'm going to say that's a heck of a block.
Oh, you're sticking up for the centers is what you're doing. I think that's obvious. It's been obvious all season long, Bart.
No question about it.
Very biased.
Extremely biased.
For the man snapping the football. Second and 20 for Blake. That one incomplete. Intended for David Dunn, and both Cincinnati and Jacksonville, as you might expect, having some problems with the passing game in this steady rain.
There's no way of keeping the ball dry. Officials will do what they can do. Within 2 or 3 plays, the umpire, Bob Boylston, his towel's going to get wet. He's not. He's holding on to the ball, you see, puts it down, but the ball still gets soaking.
4:46 left in the opening half, 3rd and long for Cincinnati. They've got the 17-13 lead. The delay to Bieniemy, and Bieniemy picks up some good yards, but only about 5 or 6, and that'll bring up 4th down, and Cincinnati will punt it away. Tony Brackens, the rookie out of Texas, makes the stop on Bieniemy.
Jacksonville brings 3 defensive linemen and the ball to Bieniemy, but they just got, Jacksonville has too many guys back there to allow Bieniemy to run for 20 yards that he needed there. Talked about that 3rd and long situation. Lee Johnson on to punt for the first time today.
And back deep is Chris Hudson, standing at his 12. Not a good punt by Lee Johnson, Bart. Your old pal from BYU, we were talking to him before the game, and he says, hey, if I shank one, don't be too hard on me. So I'll leave the commentary after that effort to you.
Well, we'll let the results speak for themselves on that one. That was a shank. He's walking off the field with his head down. Said a few weeks ago after they had played San Francisco, he punted 10 times to San Francisco, had 42-yard average, did not punt well. Said that was after when Coslet came in. Coslet came in the next week as a head coach, and he specifically called Lee out and said, you did a horrible job in front of the entire team. We talked about the aspect of the accountability that Bruce expects from his players, and that was one particular instance. Lee told me, he says, he's instilled the element of fear in these guys.
Derek Brown in motion to tie it in as Natron Means gets dragged down behind the line of scrimmage by Steve Tovar.
A good read by Steve Tovar. As we mentioned before, having a good year, the interceptions, plus he's also playing that run very well.
Leading tackler for the Bengals the last 2 years, former 3rd-round pick out of Ohio State, probably still mourning the Buckeye loss to Michigan a couple of weeks ago.
The Cincinnati team has 3 or 4 former Buckeyes on it.
2nd down and 11 as Means lost a yard. And Brunell the pass. Jimmy Smith has it. Smith, it looks like he picked up the first down. He did. He's across the 45-yard line. Jimmy Spencer on the coverage.
Jimmy Smith goes past the first down marker, then comes back down the sideline. Brunell has the arm, there's velocity on the ball to get it to him, even though sometimes it's a dangerous pass, because if an interception is made at that position, it can be returned for a touchdown.
Quick drop by Brunell. Jimmy Smith again. Missed tackle by the Bengals, and Smith has another first down. That was Jimmy Spencer who missed the tackle on Smith, and Gerald Dixon had to go downfield and bring Smith down, but another big gain and another Jacksonville first down.
Jimmy Smith is becoming the go-to guy. Stop and go. Spencer slips a little bit, can't make the play. Smith, in only his 2nd start, after they released Andre Rison, is coming up 31 yards last week.
As you took a look at the top receiving combos in the league, McCardell and Smith coming in with the second most in the NFL for starting wide receivers, only trailing Brett Perriman and Herman Moore of the Lions. So Brunell is talented, but he also has a couple of wide receivers that can go get it.
They're very happy with the mix that they have with the wide receivers, with the quarterback. They like the tackles that they have. They think they've got a good mix of guys that with a little growth.
Brunell's chase. Pete Mitchell makes the reception. The tight end that'll be short of the first down and bring up third down as we're 5 seconds away from the 2-minute warning.
Looks like it was overruled. Looks like Pete may not have. Let's watch it here. Have a naked bootleg. Tim Johnson does a good job. He forces the throw by Brunell. Pete goes up.
Oh, he did not get both feet in.
His left foot did not come down in. Good call by the official. The sideline official made a good call there.
So it'll still be third down, but it'll be third down and 7 for Coughlin's team.
Is he always intense? Coughlin is
yes, pacing the sidelines.
Not agreeable. However, if you factor in last week's game, they had a number of calls that went in their favor that helped them attain their first road victory last week.
How wild a game was that for Jacksonville. Brunell's off the mark, and that stops the clock with 2:02 remaining. The Jaguars have not won 2 straight games in more than a year. Last October, the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars put 2 victories in a row together.
Jacksonville on 4th down is in a position where too far for a field goal given the rain. Punt's not going to accomplish a great deal, so they're going to go for it on 4th down and 7.
Good call at this stage in the game, you agree?
I think so. They need to make something happen. They've given up the momentum. Shotgun look by Brunell.
This will be the last play before the 2-minute warning. Brunell lobs it up. Jimmy Smith, incomplete, tightly covered by Bo Orlando.
I think a good decision, but I think the choice of receivers by Brunell in that situation, a low percentage pass there.
So Cincinnati makes the stop.
We'll have an isolation on Jimmy Smith going straight down the field. Spencer has the outside, the safety. Bo Orlando is there to prevent the pass on the inside. Does a good job. Bo did a good job. Bo's a free agent from
the San Diego Chargers.
San Diego.
2-minute warning in Jacksonville. That's from this Sunday in the NFL, including an interview with Jimmy Johnson.
Those guys better not stand up there too long like that. Get their hat full of water.
As the rain continues to fall, forecast looked ugly, and it really has turned into some pretty bad weather. Maybe they have taken your advice, Bart, and are exiting the stadium.
Too much water. And we're around water all the time.
17-13, the Bengals over the Jaguars. Less than 2 minutes remain as Cincinnati taking over on downs after the unsuccessful 4th down attempt by Jacksonville. Bengals from the 32. And a quick give to Bieniemy. Bieniemy caught in the backfield, and that was Bucky Brooks. Former 2nd-round pick by the Buffalo Bills in '94. The 2nd-year pickup from Green Bay.
This is a little different look for Jacksonville with their nickel package. They line 3 guys up on the line of scrimmage. They play Tony Brackens behind the nose tackle, and he'll go to the flow of the offense. They've been very successful in the last few games running this defense.
Cincinnati has 2 timeouts left. The Jaguars with all 3 of theirs.
Cincinnati slowing it down a little bit. Got Clyde Simmons playing at nose tackle. Just a straight 3-man front, and this is called their dime package.
Blake can't find anybody right. Attempts to get it to Gajana Carter on the left side, incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down, and we'll see your pal Lee Johnson come in again off of a 20-yard punt. on his last effort. There he is. Rain had to have something to do with that, right?
I think rain, how the ball hit the foot.
Well, there is Jeff Blake at the top of the telecast. You mentioned how much he would like to have Bruce Coslett remain as coach of Cincinnati. Another poor punt by Johnson, who was on his backside as Chris Hudson fields it at the 30-yard line. Took a big shot by Sam Shade, and a rough afternoon for Lee Johnson so far. That
Lee Johnson,
37-yard effort.
Not making good contact with the ball.
First and 10.
Here's another look at Lee. Down he goes, out of frame.
Slippage.
Give you an idea of how slick that field is.
As he plants with his right foot, he's a left-footed kicker. His right foot slips out, wet turf.
How prophetic was Lee before this game? Telling us to take it easy on him if he had a couple of shanks, and indeed he has.
And we are.
We are taking it easy. 38 seconds left. Brunell and the Jaguars with all 3 of the timeouts remaining. Brunell will run this one and slide close to the first down. They'll give it to him across the 40-yard line. That stops the clock with 27 seconds remaining.
James Francis is down, limping a little bit. Looks like Brunell, when he slid right into James Francis's knee. Brunell, instead of going out of bounds, decides to turn it up the field.
And Jacksonville takes its first timeout. Reminder coming up next on most of these NBC stations, it's game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Watch as Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins take on Jeff Hostetler and the Oakland Raiders. That is coming up next here on NBC. Oakland pretty much out of the playoff hunt, but Miami needs to keep on winning if the Dolphins are to be there. Miami coming in with a 6-6 record, and again, Jimmy Johnson will be interviewed on our Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report coming your way at halftime.
Oakland is in the same situation as these two teams. Mark Brunell not having a stellar day from a percentage completion point, but he hasn't made mistakes.
27 seconds to go in the opening half. Bengals with a 17-13 lead. Jaguars trying to get to position for at least perhaps a field goal. Nice catch made there by McCardell. Clock continues to roll, and now Jacksonville will take the second timeout, so 1 remaining for Brunell.
Take a look at the play from the end zone. The offensive line, they're rushing 4 guys. They're not getting the push. Good job on Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. Keenan McCardell goes over the middle. Keenan McCardell is probably the premier receiver in the NFL today of catching the ball in the middle. Does a great job. He realizes he's going to get hit, so he says, why not catch the ball anyway? Here's a guy that was a 12th round draft choice. It took him a while to stick, but now he is the featured receiver of this Jacksonville Jaguar offense.
73 receptions coming into the game, only trailing in the AFC, Carl Pickens, who came into the ball game with 78. McCardell also trying to become the first 1,000-yard receiver in the early Jacksonville history. Jaguars with 1 timeout left. They have a first down. Brunell trying to get him in position. That pass complete near side Jimmy Smith at the Cincinnati 33-yard line, and they are getting into Mike Hollis's range. 13 seconds to go.
Good clock management by Jacksonville. Of course, they're benefited by still having all of their timeouts left when they had the ball, so they were able to take 2 timeouts. They still have another timeout left.
Where they are right now would be about a 50-yard attempt. And in this rain and a little bit of wind that's still out there, they want to get in a closer try. Brunell trying to give it to him. McCardell has it. He's got a first down at the 22-yard line with 8 seconds remaining.
What do you do if you're the coach? You know you've got a timeout and you can kill the clock with a timeout, but do you take 1 shot at the end zone, or do you go for the field goal at this point? Tom Compton is sending the kicker in.
Here comes Hollis.
Mike Hollis has been accurate this year, connecting on 16 and 20 field goal attempts coming into the game.
46-yarder in this game, also a 25-yard attempt. This one will be a 40-yard attempt. And it appeared that Jacksonville took its last time out of this half. They did.
If Hollis does have a weakness, it is his attempts from 40 to 49 yards. He's only 2 of 5 from that distance. Interesting, from 50 yards and beyond, he's 2 of 2. They had the opportunity, or rather they have the ability to take the timeout, not hurry the kick. Again, I said, good clock management by this team. These are the traits that you expect from a Tom Coughlin type team.
What a wild Twilight Zone type of season it's been for Coughlin.
I think the word he used for us was bizarre.
Said it was the wildest game in his career. He coached last week, and Mark Brunell may have put it best when he says, we've won and lost every conceivable way this year.
Well, we were in St. Louis, where they had over 500 yards offense and lost the game to St. Louis, had almost 3 times the offense.
That was solid by Hollis.
And good.
Against a slight breeze, Hollis drills it through from 40 yards away. And the Jaguars pull within 17-16 with just 5 seconds remaining.
Good team effort by Jacksonville. Cincinnati has the ball. The defense for Jacksonville holds Cincinnati. Jacksonville's able to get the ball back on the poor punt by Lee Johnson, go down and get the field goal.
We mentioned how bizarre this season has been. Last week, pretty much a microcosm of that. Last week in Baltimore, Jacksonville with a dramatic comeback. 1:24 in the game. Brunell hits Willie Jackson to make it 25-23. Then Brunell just barely runs it in for the 2-point conversion that ties it up, sends the game into overtime, and that is where Mike Hollis hits this 34-yarder just barely, and Jacksonville wins it 28-25 in overtime. They got some breaks down the stretch, and really just that little synopsis doesn't even do that game justice as far as how bizarre it was. There were chances by both teams to win.
Both teams. You had fumbled quarterback snap it into the game by Testaverde that Jacksonville recovered. A fumble by Biner.
Well, they've certainly solved the Ravens in their short history. They've beaten that franchise 4 straight times, but they've never beaten Cincinnati. The Bengals, the only AFC Central team that Jacksonville has never beaten. Hollis just drills it straight down the field. The Bengals fall on it at the 28, and that will be the final play of the opening half.
Troy Sandusky there, acting like an offensive lineman. Got the ball and just laid on it.
Jacksonville went out to a 10-0 lead, but Carl Pickens answered with a couple of touchdown catches. The late field goal here in the first half by Hollis has given the Bengals a 17-16 lead. Let's go to our studios in New York.
Tuesday on Mad About You. Hey, Jamie quits coffee.
Well, we thought it was the end of the first half, but the officials have put 3 more seconds on the clock, and now they will run it down. So we're so happy that we got back to Jacksonville to give you that pivotal play when ends the first half.
When 87, Troy Sadowski went down, he decided that the clock should not run.
Well, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York now for the Domino's Pizza halftime report.
Well, last week, both offenses went in, had a lot of yards, won the games, and they've shown that they can continue to move the ball today.
Look at the halftime leads that the Bengals have blown this year, all coming under Dave Shula, who coached the first 7 games when Cincinnati began the season at 1-6. Lee Johnson, who had a rough first half punting, kicks it off for the Bengals. And back deep, taking it out for Jacksonville is Bucky Brooks. And Brooks with another good return, moving his way up across the 30-yard line. That is where Jacksonville will begin. Special teams play made by Eric Bieniemy.
Jacksonville's doing a much better job with the field position after the first couple of returns.
Here comes Mark Brunell. We mentioned at the top, leading the NFL in passing yards, but that is a low line for Brunell in the first half.
Not throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball, not getting the yardage that you've seen from Brunell. However, second half has been the half for this team as far as getting the yardage.
Still a light rain falling as Natron Means gets the first carry, brought down by Bo Orlando. The weather has not worsened from that heavy downpour which we saw down the second quarter, but Natron Means again filling in nicely for James Stewart. We have not seen James Stewart at all in this game.
Natron's been having a good game. He's been effective. He's running the ball with power. You're not going to bring in James Stewart. You leave it in Natron. Natron's the type of guy, as we mentioned, as he mentioned us, he gets stronger as the game wears on. He likes to get up in the 15 to 20 yard carry range.
They fake it to Means, and Brunell goes to the air. Jimmy Smith is now over 100 yards. Pass complete at the Bengal 48. Bo Orlando made the stop. That's the 5th catch of the game for Jimmy Smith in the 2nd straight week. He's got over 100 yards receiving.
Good timing between the quarterback and the receiver. Jimmy Smith makes his cut inside. Brunell has the gun just to deliver. Good velocity on the ball. Orlando gives a good lick, but he's the one that's on the knee at this point. Called a timeout.
113 yards receiving by Jimmy Smith today, and we take a look at the circuitous path to this season. Sat out all of 1994, didn't play in 93. Had an appendectomy at one point when he played with the Dallas Cowboys. That led to an infection. I mean, this guy has had all sorts of problems as you take a look at
defense have come from these 3 free agents.
Sam Shade takes the spot for Bo Orlando, who walks off the field. Jacksonville with a first down again at the 47-yard line. And Means gets the call on the right side again. Brunell told us that, yeah, he'd like to get more balance on both sides of the ball, not just passing but in rushing, but they've gotten behind, and the running game that really has been forgotten as the game has gone along, because many times this year Jacksonville has had to try to come back. As you take a look at James Stewart, who led the Jaguars in rushing last year and was and is the leading rusher this year with over 700 yards.
Bengals doing a good job the previous play, shutting down the run. We've got a twist and a blitz coming.
Brunell hanging in there. Tovar's chasing him. Brunell gets rid of it. Nicely done to Pete Mitchell, and Mitchell has the first down.
Mitchell gets both feet in bounds in that. He doesn't jump up for the ball. Keeps his feet planted. Brunell, with the good vision, delivers the ball.
Gain of 13 for Pete Mitchell. But the play was made by Brunell, wasn't it?
Good block by Natron Means on Tovar. Brunell with a little scramble. He has that ability to move around. A lot of people compare him to Steve Young with the left-handed throwing, as well as his ability to scramble.
Bo Orlando has come back into the game for Cincinnati. Jacksonville on the move, and its opening drive of the first half. Derek Brown, the other tight end, hauls it in. So back-to-back tight end receptions for Jacksonville. The stop made by Jimmy Spencer.
Derek Brown is a starting tight end. He's caught passes in all but 3 of the games. However, in no game has he caught more than 1 pass, so he catches his pass today.
At the 23.
He's a check down, playing the check down. Brunell simply throws it to him.
As you take a look at some of the other scores around the NFL. 17-16, Cincinnati with a halftime lead, but an impressive opening drive of this second half by the Jaguars as Big Daddy finally brings down Natron Means.
Natron keeping those legs moving, driving
all the way, huh?
Saying, this is what I like. I like the feeling. Give me the ball. Let me drive. Let me pick up some positive yards. Natron gets the ball, runs through the arm tackles, and keeps those legs moving. He's a guy that you've got to wrap up, and you're going to have to take head on.
A lot of talk, Bart, about why San Diego dealt Natron Means. It's a story that's been told, but just to kind of clarify it, we asked Natron yesterday about it, and he said, you know, I really think when I held out for 11 days of camp last year, even before the season began in San Diego, that really kind of marked the beginning of the end, and then of course he was injured with a groin injury halfway through last season as they measure for the first down, and it is short. But a lot of people liken it to the Jerome Bettis situation. Not a good scene for him in St. Louis, not a good scene for Means in San Diego, so he gets a new lease on his career here in Jacksonville.
And it's a little different. I mean, it's a lot like Jerome, but Jerome had a year there where, a year or two where he wasn't productive, but Means was productive up into the injury. And they decided with the emergence of other running backs, he was
less than a yard, and they're going to stop Means, it appears.
Good penetration
Bengals
by
defensive
Cincinnati.
line rising to the occasion. Ramondo Stallings, number 79, appeared to lead that stop on Means, and they actually lost a few.
Like Tovar is on the ground.
And he is down at the 17-yard line.
Let's take another look. Penetration.
Stallings.
Good job by Ramondo Stallings. Has the penetration. Said if you're going to tackle Natron, you can tackle him, but you've got to do it straight up. You can't be hitting it from the side. He runs low, he runs hard, and he's usually going to pick up good yardage if you don't hit him head on like Ramondo did on that particular play.
Well, concern now for Tovar, who is down. And we'll try to get an injury report on the Bengal middle linebacker when we return. Well, they brought the stretcher out for Steve Tovar. He says, I'll have none of that. It follows him off the field as he gets assisted off the field. And Bart, let's take another look at the replay, see if we can detect the injury.
Dan, in your screen, you'll see Steve is here on the left side of Steve. That's a lot of weight. Rich Tilsky listed at 304 pounds, a first-year player from Utah State.
So Hollis comes on for a 39-yard field goal attempt, and Hollis is a perfect 4 for 4. And the Jaguars have retaken the lead, 19-17.
Very comfortable looking kick by Mike Hollis. A lot of times in the rain, the kickers get a little psyched out. They're worried about the snaps, they're worried about the holds. In this case, Mike is very relaxed, having a good year. Tom Coughlin likes his kicker. Thinks he's a pressure guy that performs under pressure. Tom Coughlin has to be happy about that coming out. First drive of the second quarter, eating up 5 minutes. First drive of the second half, rather, eating up 5 minutes.
Next Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, college basketball returns to NBC as we bring you the John Wooden Classic. We'll be joining Game 1 in progress as the Arizona Wildcats take on the Utah Utes. Then in Game 2, the Louisville Cardinals take on the LSU Tigers. It is college basketball, the John Wooden Classic next Saturday right here on NBC. That is Keith Van Horn pictured in the graphic there. Outstanding player for Utah. Kicking it back deep is David Dunn, who had a good return earlier. This time Jacksonville brings him down at the 24-yard line. And as we mentioned at the halftime break, this game shaping up into another classic Bengal-Jaguar right down to the wire game.
Going back and forth. Each team making some plays, doing some things.
And the numbers for Jeff Blake. 2 touchdown passes to Carl Pickens in the first half. And now Cincinnati begins at its own 24-yard line. Garrison Hurst, 55 yards rushing in the opening half, is the lone setback behind Blake. They fake to Hurst. Blake rolls right and has his tight end Tony McGee, and McGee picks up a first down for Cincinnati. Gang tackle led by Aaron Beasley.
Naked bootleg by Cincinnati. McGee's playing the tight end on the right side. Comes into your screen. Blake gives it to him. Nobody's there to cover him. They flooded the right side with both wide receivers, Pickens and Scott. In the frenzy of trying to cover them, nobody covered McGee.
Here's Carl Pickens. And Pickens across the 47.
Cincinnati loves this play.
Blake throws complete.
That's the second time we've seen it this game.
They'll run it 4, 5, 6 times a game. Blake picks it up, throws the quick pass to Pickens, particularly with Pickens' speed and his ability to go deep and the long ball that they create. Receivers will play off of him and give him the chance of catching the ball. He's such a good runner after the catch that he picks up. In this case, it didn't look like much, but it's 5 yards.
Injury report on Steve Tovar as Blake hands off to Hurst. Tovar, a sprained left knee. His return to this game is doubtful. So it appears that the Bengals will play the remainder of this game without their leading tackler, middle linebacker Steve Tovar, who has had his share of injuries in his early 4-year career.
Garrison Hurst goes off the left side to the top of your screen. He bends it outside. Aaron Beasley is there, but he doesn't attack him. He doesn't attack Garrison, and Garrison makes too big of a gain. Got to be more aggressive there.
61 yards. Remember, it's a 61-game drought. Hurst seems to be in position to have a shot at it. Blake takes a shot at a first down, incomplete. He wanted Darnay Scott.
Good protection by the offensive group. Coslet said that one of the reasons you mentioned earlier about McGee and his receptions, we saw he just had one, but one of the reasons that he hasn't had as much production in receptions is that they had to keep him in pass protection more than they would like because of the problems with the young offensive line and their inability to pick up a lot of the twists and the stunts that other defenses are throwing at them.
A little draw to Garrison Hurst. Jacksonville not fooled by that one at all. Jeff Lageman, the former Jet, in there to make the stop along the front line. Lageman, a former #1 pick, played for Bruce Coslet, and Coslet was the head coach in New York from 90 to 93.
Jacksonville had a blitz on that play and ran right in to the play. Sometimes you call it the right play, and sometimes you don't. In that case, Jacksonville had the right blitz on for the offensive play call.
With the loss, brings up 3rd and long. Blake steps up in the pocket. Now he's going to try to run for the first down, and he's going to dive and get it inside the 35.
Great effort by Jeff Blake.
He'll run when he has to, and that was a key spot to pick up the first down, keeps the drive alive for Cincinnati.
Blake is a guy with terrific speed. He's a good athlete, a guy that when he wants to can make a lot of things happen when he runs out of pocket, but his first preference is to throw the ball. He feels a little pressure by Clyde Simmons and Don Davies there. And Blake takes off. He realizes where the first down markers are, and he dives for it and gets it. Big pickup, big 3rd down game.
Blake across to Tony McGee, and McGee dropped it. That was a catchable ball by the tight end.
Tom McManus in coverage, gets his hand up. It's hard to tell whether he hit the ball or not. It didn't look like it did. We'll get a shot there. Another that play action pass.
Well, hit him in the numbers, Bart.
Dangerous spot.
Second down and 10.
The movement by Richard Brown.
About 8 flags come in and stop the play.
Like the left guard, number 6.
Number 74, offense, moving prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, second down.
A little anxious, top of your screen. Up top, you watch his head move right on the side of center. As well as Tony McGee is moving a little bit, but they get left guard, Richard Bryan.
Second down and 15 now. Ball at the Jacksonville 39. Blake's got a lot of room to run again. He's going to pick up another first down on the ground.
Completely lost containment. Jacksonville the rushing, the front four, they've got to be more disciplined. Jeff Lageman takes the hard inside. Kelvin Pritchett comes in. They give him the outside. It's wide open. He gets the first down.
Remember what Jeff Blake told us last night when we talked to him? He said, watch for me to run the football. He said, every time we've played Jacksonville previously, I've had a lot of room to run. He gained 16 yards on that one, picking his spots nicely. And they give it to Garrison Hurst, and he has nowhere
exactly
to go.
Jacksonville plays Cincinnati very well, or they have in the past. They play what's called a two-deep zone with both safeties playing deep and usually preventing the big play by Darnay Scott and Carl Pickens. However, what it does do is it loosens up that defense, and when on a passing play, there's nobody to take Jeff Blake, and he's shown the last couple of plays that he can go for some big games. John Yurkovich.
Yurkovich shaken up. The talented run stopper on Jacksonville's defensive front. We'll take a quick break. Watching this game back in John Yurkovich's cigar shop just across the water, Bart. Yurkovich, under his own power, walks off the field. Yurkovich, a very colorful personality on this Jacksonville team, takes a break.
Yurkovich is one of the throwbacks type of guy. Got a bad-looking body, but he can play the game.
2nd down and 10 for Cincinnati. And the timing there to Garrison Hurst and Jeff Blake a little bit off as Hurst turned around a little later than Blake expected. And that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Blake lobs the ball. Hurst lined up on the left side. He lobs the ball, just doesn't put enough on it. The timing is not there. Blake doesn't think Hurst is going to be as far out in the flat as he is.
Kajana Carter and Eric Bieniemy, the two running backs behind Blake on 3rd and 10. Blake again steps up. Will he run for another first down? Well, he's short that time. He slides short of the 15. And that'll bring up 4th down, and I'm sure we'll see Doug Pelfrey come on.
Good scramble by Jeff Blake. Shows his athleticism and eluding would-be sackers and tacklers. Picking up 7 or 8 yards.
Would have been something had Blake been able to pick up another first down for the Bengals. He had 2 key first down runs to keep the hopes of a touchdown alive. Now a field goal is what Doug Pelfrey wants to put through from 34 yards out. The NFL's new most accurate kicker, field goal kicker in NFL history. And that one's right down the chute. So Pelfrey earlier hitting from 22 and again connecting there. As Cincinnati, in a seesaw battle in Jacksonville, regains the lead. PR head Dan Edwards, John Yurkovich just had his bell rung and is off the field. His return is questionable, perhaps lighting up a cigar on the sidelines while looking through the Polaroids. Still in the rain here in Jacksonville. Bucky Brooks takes the Lee Johnson kickoff and has another good return across the 30-yard line. Still on his feet, run out of bounds at the 37-yard line by Rod Jones. So Bucky Brooks, who returned kickoffs for the first time last week, another impressive one for Jacksonville. They trail by 1. Jacksonville trailing 20-19. The Jaguars offense has yet to produce a touchdown today. The last 4 scores in a row have been produced by the field goal kicker Mike Hollis, who is 4 for 4. The lone touchdown by Jacksonville coming in the very first series when Mickey Washington blocked a Cincinnati field goal. Actually, it was Clyde Simmons who blocked it. Mickey Washington returned it for the touchdown. So Jacksonville trying to get into the end zone for the first time.
Jacksonville moving the ball, but not being able to take advantage of it when they get down there and score touchdowns.
Natron Means bulldozing his way close to the 45-yard line. Tom Tumulty, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, a 6th-round draft pick, number 53, has taken the middle linebacking spot for Steve Tovar. There is Tumulty, a first-team All-Big East selection last year.
That hurts your defense when you're Tovar's the quarterback of that defense, particularly the front seven, directing guys, telling them where to go, what shifts to make, what adjustments to make. You've got a new guy in there. Makes it a little difficult.
Fake to Means. Brunell steps up on the run, passes it to Means. Means has the first down. Across midfield into Bengal territory. Bo Orlando brought him down.
Good protection by the offensive line of Jacksonville. Brunell drops back. Kind of a half-hearted play-action fake. Brunell feels a little heat from Tim Johnson, simply dumps it off to Natron Means. It's a good awareness. It's a sign of a quarterback that's comfortable in his system, because even though he's on the scramble, he knows where his check down guy is. He knows where he's got an easy 4 or 5 yards.
Means goes across the left side. That's his 15th carry of the game. He's got 46 yards. Ramondo Stallings.
Gain of 2.
On the tackle.
2nd and 8, the Jaguars.
Ramondo Stallings will come in, and he will spell Artie Smith, who is the regular starter. Cincinnati just brought in their nickel front. They'll play with 2 linebackers and 4 defensive linemen.
2nd down and 8. Still the rain coming down, and a quick give to Natron Means. Nowhere to go. That'll bring up 3rd down and long as Means lost a yard. Big John Copeland, whose number we haven't called a lot today, leads the charge on Means.
Cincinnati had a stunt, a twist between the 2 defensive tackles. John Copeland was going to come first. He comes inside and just runs right in to the draw play that they had designed.
Again, the Bengal defense, first in the league with 37 takeaways. They came into this game with 28 interceptions. They don't have one today so far on Mark Brunell. 3rd and 10.
Got a safety blitz. Good job protecting, picking him up.
Brunell buys himself some time, gets hit hard. McCardell is wide open. Did he stay in? Not quite.
Officials are looking at each other. They're making eye contact. It looked like he stayed in bounds. We'll see.
Now the signal, touchdown to McCardell. What a throw by Brunell, who was pressured, got rid of it, and McCardell has the touchdown. 48 yards.
Brunell saw it, and he wanted to go to him earlier. He couldn't. He had to pull the ball down. He readjusted himself, and then he was able to throw it right before he got clobbered. Replay, we see Keenan. Simply, it was going to be a quick out to Keenan McCardell. Keenan says, does the smart thing. Smart. You see how he goes down the field. His quarterback gets it. He tiptoes down the line. He's able to stay in bounds, gets a touchdown. Watch Brunell takes a big shot.
Big Daddy had a chance at him, takes a shot from Copeland, and the Jaguars will go for 2 as the score is now 25-20. They're going to try to make it 27-20 and get the touchdown of the extra point lead. And a timeout is called by Cincinnati. What a play by Brunell, who many feel will be perhaps the new Steve Young later on in the 90s, maybe 2, 3, 4 years away from being one of the best in the NFL. That's an example of what he can do.
This is a sign of the maturation of a quarterback. He is able to make the plays. When things have broken down, he's able to make the play, make things happen positively. Not making mistakes you've seen earlier in the season today. Good job. From the end zone, it's in the shotgun formation. They bring the safety, they bring everybody on the left side. He breaks containment.
Wilkinson had a shot. Copeland gave him a shot as he released it. Look at the arm strength by Brunell. Off balance, almost off his back foot, is able to heave it downfield for the 48-yard score.
That is what you would call a big league play.
Now Jacksonville goes for the 2-point conversion. McCardell in motion. And over the middle, it's good to Willie Jackson. 27-20, the Jaguars. A minute 33 left in the third. Scoring drive for Jacksonville. 5 plays, 60 yards. Took just over 3 minutes. Jacksonville with a 7-point lead now as the offense gets its first touchdown of the game. The big key play was the 48-yard pass play to McCardell for the score, as James Hunden carries it out for Jacksonville, and the crowd finally waking up. Jeff Kopp makes the stop.
That was a great play by Mark Brunell to get the ball to Keenan, and then a terrific job, athletic ability of Keenan McCardell staying in bounds, tiptoeing on the sidelines, and just barely keeping those feet in for the touchdown.
Well, the voodoo has been all on Jacksonville.
John
Haven't been able to get by Cincinnati. To take a look at Yurkovich back in the lineup on the defensive front for Jacksonville. Cincinnati from its own 28. And they give it to Garrison Hurst. Turns the corner and turns it up. Diving for what appears to be a first down. Good effort by Hurst as Dano Hall finally brought him down. And a good block by Brian Milne as he springs Hurst here, Bart.
Left side, watch number 82. Does a good job of blocking. Tony McGee, and they open up the outside. There doesn't seem to be any force by the defense. Nobody came up from the defensive backfield to force Garrison back inside.
Hurst 30 yards away from the elusive 100-yard rushing mark for the Bengals. They'll get another chance here to move closer. Again, 61 straight games without a 100-yard rusher for Cincinnati. Garrison Hurst could be the first one to pick it up.
Buffalo, Indianapolis, the tight game.
Ravens, 24-17 leaders over Pittsburgh. Steelers leading the AFC Central, the division which Cincinnati and Jacksonville play in, with a 9-3 mark. Both Jacksonville and Cincinnati trying to get their 6th victories of the season in a game that appears to go down to the wire again. 2nd down and 5. Quick drop by Blake, and he's got Tony McGee. And McGee has the first down into Jacksonville territory at the 45, and that will be the final play of the third quarter. Jacksonville's offense has finally gotten it going. They lead 27-20. We're back after these messages from your local quarters here in Jacksonville. The Jaguars up 27-20. Cincinnati on the move. Kajana Carter darting right, heading upfield, close to the 40-yard line. Bruce Coslett hoping history repeats itself here, Bart. The Bengals are 3-0 versus Jacksonville. The Jaguars have led in each of the 3 losses, and in the 4th quarter in 2 of those games. As you take a look at what Bruce Coslett hopes happens again here, another late Bengal rally.
The Bengals are doing a good job on first downs, making some positive yards, pick up 5 in that situation. Jacksonville's defense has to defend the entire field.
Blake tosses it just across the middle to Eric Bieniemy. And maybe a yard was gained before John Yurkovich brought Bieniemy down.
Blake was looking to Pickens. Didn't feel comfortable throwing it over the top, and so he just dumped it off over the middle.
Blake 16-28 over the 200-yard mark. The 2 touchdown passes to Carl Pickens.
Watch Pickens here running. He wants the ball. He says,
wide open Pickens.
Throw it to me over the top. Jeff Blake, one of the best long ball throwers in the league.
Maybe he'll go to him here. He's gone to him before on key 3rd downs. Nope, he goes to Dunn. Dunn picks up the first down. The Bengal drive alive at the Jacksonville 26. Robert Massey brings Dunn down.
A lot of guys in this offense are making contributions today. From the end zone, Blake drops back. You see the velocity of the ball that he has. Defense cannot react to it. But Dunn's making some contributions. You've got Tony McGee, who hasn't had the numbers this year, but making some good catches and some key 3rd down receptions by these guys today.
Blake going to his man Pickens. Can he get it? If he gets that, it's unbelievable. No, it's taken away by Aaron Beasley. And Beasley picked it off for the touchback. It appeared that Pickens was going to make one of his patented acrobatic off-the-ground receptions but the rookie Beasley took it away from Pickens.
Aaron Beasley is the only defensive back that can match up, or at least come close to matching up with Carl Pickens. He's got burned a couple of times early today, but in typical formation, Beasley comes up with a big play, interception.
A reversal of fortunes, Bart. The Jaguars came in with 9 team interceptions today, 5th fewest in the league. They've picked off 2 today. The Bengal defense had 28 coming into today. They have no interceptions on Mark Brunell, and Brunell's got another completion. And that is complete to Lachey Maston, number 35. Back to the interception by Beasley on Pickens.
Beasley does a good job. Aaron does a good job of getting inside positioning. You see the height Pickens gets up there, but Beasley goes up with him, has inside position, makes a good catch, good interception.
Pickens 9 times out of 10 will come up with that football, but the rookie Beasley there to pick it off and stop the Cincinnati drive.
Like Brunell might be checking off the line of scrimmage.
Just over 12 minutes remaining. Jaguars with a 7-point lead. And on first down, Brunell's pass incomplete as a flag rolled in.
They're going to call Dave Waddell for holding. Threw it right at him. Defensive front. Cincinnati did a good job of getting pressure. Get a little push up the middle.
Tim Johnson applying that pressure on Brunell.
Tim Johnson, the veteran.
Holding, number 79. Offense, it's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
It is on the Naval Destroyer. Waddell's favorite fan in the stand says, well, he'd be right.
We see some of his family came to the game today.
But you know, as you compare the girths, Bart, that man right there has nothing on Dave Waddell. There is the real gut in this stadium.
He's the shell of the original.
That backs up Jacksonville now 1st and 20. Ball at their own 23. Brunell is in trouble, just gets rid of it. And another flag has come in, perhaps a late hit.
Or an intentional grounding.
Or an intentional grounding, that's right.
They brought the blitz, picked it up initially. Called him intentional grounding.
Brunell was not outside.
Has to be outside the pocket.
Yep, has to be outside and clearly
right behind the center. He moves around, avoids initial.
Good pressure there by Copeland.
Copeland and Tom Tumulty in there. Had the blitz coming.
Intentional grounding. Number 8. It's a 10-yard penalty. Loss of down. Second down.
So after the interception by Beasley, Jacksonville really wanted to put a long drive down the field, eat some time off. Now all they're doing is backing up, and the penalties have backed up Coughlin and Jacksonville all year long.
Second down and 30 yards
Brunell
to go.
Came into the game, Bart, 40 sacks. Now 42.
The most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
Almost gets sacked there. Pete Mitchell, the tight end over the middle, barrels his way close to the 25. That'll bring up 3rd and long. Andre Collins chases down Mitchell. Clock rolling, 11:47.
Jacksonville running what is called a middle screen to the tight end. Screen requires a lot of timing. The offensive line has to block the defensive lineman just long enough to make them think it's a pass. Then they've got to let him beat him. And then the quarterback's got to time his throw so that the linemen are in position to make the blocks.
3rd and 18. Brunell tosses it across to Pete Mitchell. Can he get to the first down marker? Just short. Gracie Walker with a first down saving tackle on Pete Mitchell.
Pete Mitchell making a gallant effort to pick up the first down, but they're a little short. Crowd wants him to go for it.
They're booing the appearance of Barker, the punter, on the field, but this was a nice play by Gracie Walker to stop Mitchell.
Good movement by Mark Brunell in the pocket, moving around, keeping his shoulders square, keeping his options open that he can throw to the left and throw to the right. He throws back to the right to Pete Mitchell. Almost picks up the first down.
4th and less than a yard. Barker comes in to punt. David Dunn takes it from the 14, finds a little seam across the 20, gets it back up to the 24-yard line. That is a 10-yard return by Dunn, brought down by Lachey Maston. Cincinnati takes over with 10:22 left, trailing by 7.
Only from Domino's, new garlic crunch crust pizza.
Now to enjoy a hot and delicious Domino's pizza during the game. For hot and wow, call Domino's now.
Dan Hicks with Bart Oates back in rainy Jacksonville. The rain continuing and a tight game continuing between the Bengals and the Jaguars. Garrison Hurst 25 yards away from that coveted century mark. Bengals again 61 straight games without a 100-yard rusher. He could be key in this drive. The fake to Hurst. Blake rolls right. Still looking for a receiver. Did Pickens get in?
We got a flag.
A flag is in.
Maybe Jeff was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. He was fairly close.
That's what it is.
Jeff Blake rolls out a design play. The line of scrimmage, and Jeff rolls out.
Illegal forward pass. Number 8 on the offense. Pass was thrown from behind the line of scrimmage. It's a 5-yard penalty. Loss of down. 2nd down.
He was past the ball. He was a good yard past the line of scrimmage.
Costly, not only the 5-yard penalty, but the loss of down, 2nd and 15. Jacksonville again in a typical Jaguar effort. Passing yards to rushing yards, 288 to 56. Total yards about even as the Bengals are a little more balanced.
Cincinnati doing a good job approaching 400 yards in total offense with very good balance between the run and the pass.
Blake sends McGee, the tight end, to the right side. David Dunn in the slot to the left. And Blake's pass complete to Tony McGee, his tight end. And McGee close to a first down. I believe he picked it up.
Looks like they marked it right beyond the first down marker. Tony McGee having a good day today.
Buffalo and Indianapolis in a close game. And look at the Ravens all over the Pittsburgh Steelers midway through the 4th quarter.
Pittsburgh playing so well. Baltimore has that offensive ability. They've done well offensively all year. Testaverde having a good year.
You mentioned McGee with a big game. 4 catches, 53 yards for the Cincinnati tight end. A first down at Cincinnati's 35-yard line. Garrison Hurst up the middle for maybe 4 more.
First 12 games, had only caught 24 balls. Twice, averaging 2 a game. He's had twice that today.
Garrison Hurst, another 3-yard pickup under the 9-minute mark.
Cincinnati's being patient, staying with that running game. They know that they can at least tie it up with a score.
Jacksonville showing blitz. Hurst off the left side, knocked down very quickly for maybe a yard gain. Tom McManus along with Tony Brackens. Brackens an impressive rookie out of Texas, 2nd-round pick.
Good movement by that Jacksonville defensive front. Kelvin Pritchett comes in there. Rather, Tom McManus, good hit on Garrison. He was finished up by the rest of that defensive front. These guys are active. They move around a lot. They make a lot of things happen.
Eric Bieniemy behind Blake now on 3rd and 7.
Here comes Tony
Bracken's going to come in and blitz. Blake's pass over the head of David Dunn, and Cincinnati will have to punt it away. Well, we mentioned the Ravens all over the Steelers. Let's get an update on that game and head to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Dan, it's on the strength of the strong right arm of Vinny Testaverde. His 3rd touchdown pass of the day, 27th of the season, a 3-yarder to Eric Green, who scores his 1st for the Ravens, and it comes against his former mates in Pittsburgh. 31-17, 7.5 to play in the 4th, Dan.
Thank you, Greg. Cincinnati punting it away. Chris Hudson back at the 15, dodges one Bengal, and brings it out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Interesting score in that Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. Ravens, whom Jacksonville beat last week, all over Pittsburgh. Nothing has made much sense in the NFL this season. We're back in a moment. Good time for the Cincinnati defense to make a stand. 7:48 left. Jacksonville with a 7-point lead. The Jaguar offense at the 24-yard line.
Jacksonville has not been able to sustain a lot of running.
Natron Means gets a yard just across the 25-yard line before John Copeland brings him down.
They don't do a very good job on that play, but they need to pick up a couple of first downs, eat up some time, get the running game going a little bit. Cincinnati has done a pretty good job today of shutting down that running game and causing Jacksonville to go one-dimensional into the pass.
They haven't come up with that big interception, that big turnover. Remember at the start we mentioned plus 17
defense
turnover ratio, leading the NFL. They have 28 interceptions, which leads the NFL, and they have nary a pick today as Brunell has been pretty effective. Jimmy Smith has been very effective, already over 100 yards, adding to the total and close to a first down. Gerald Dixon on the stop.
It's hard to establish a running game, or at least to stick with it. Jimmy Smith comes inside, goes back out on the dig.
6th catch of the game, Bart. 121 receiving yards for Jimmy Smith, and they'll measure to see if he picked up the first down.
Good athlete with great athletic abilities. He runs well, he catches it well, and he does a good job of running with the ball after he catches it. But I was saying that it's hard to establish a running game when you throw the ball so well.
He's got it.
Mark's making a lot of good decisions today, not making the mistakes, hasn't thrown the interceptions that he's thrown earlier in the season, particularly against this team, as you mentioned, with all the interceptions that they have.
Look at the numbers for Brunell, closing in on another 300-yard game.
Second half numbers are very impressive.
He's now passed for 200-plus yards in 15 straight games. That's the longest streak in the NFL in 4 years.
Center hitched. Dave Waddell with his head down.
He does a lot of talking out there for a center, doesn't he, as they help up one of the officials?
Official losing his footing there. There's Bob Boylston.
False start. Number 79, offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Penalties again, just drive Coughlin crazy.
Very unusual call. Usually the guard,
here
tackle,
you are sticking up for the...
he's at fault. I'm saying you don't see too often where the center's offsides, because usually he snaps the ball.
Right, okay.
Here Dave moved without snapping the ball. Dave's too big. He does. He talks, he likes to communicate and make sure that everybody's on the same line, on the same communication level.
First and 15. Brunell to throw. Jimmy Smith in and out. With it.
He took it.
No! Barely gets him. That was number 50, James Francis, who barely tripped up Smith. Jimmy Spencer.
Concentration.
Jimmy Spencer made the initial contact on the football. It went back into Smith's arms, and he was gone for 41 yards.
The ball is thrown a little bit behind Jimmy Smith. He bobbles and hits Spencer just enough. He goes right back to Jimmy Smith. And when the speed he turns it on, James Francis makes a touchdown-saving tackle. Then Brunell likes it. He says, oh. And he talked about tip balls. He knows he's lucky. He's blessed on that one.
Jimmy Smith has 170 yards receiving as Natron Means gets the carry. Ramondo Stallings wraps him up. 7 catches, for 170 yards for Smith.
A lot of his receptions, and talking to Tom Coughlin, have come on tip balls such as that, where it's a little bit behind him. He tips the ball up, and the defense makes the interception. In that case, Spencer's right there. He didn't react quick enough to it. Tipped the ball right back to Jimmy Smith, and he makes that big game.
Good show, career day for Smith, 170 yards. He had 131 yards last week. He's got over 300 yards receiving the last 2 games, and there's still under 5 minutes left in this one. Jacksonville on the move, trying to provide insurance to a 7-point lead. Brunell lofting it up down the far sidelines to Smith. Incomplete. Smith wanted a flag. Jimmy Spencer was on the coverage, and there will be no flag.
It looks like there was a multitude of flags thrown out there, of some objects. Pump fake. Coughlin told us that Spencer and Ambrose, they have great. Brunell pumps the ball like it's going to be a simple in cut, and then Jimmy Smith cuts it off and takes it deep, and Brunell tries to throw it over the top, but Jimmy Spencer does a good job of maintaining position on Jimmy Smith in that play.
They're at the Cincinnati 28, and Brunell on the mark. Pete Mitchell leading for the first down. That'll be very close. Bracy Walker again trying to prevent the first down. This is impressive. Brunell's passing.
His recognition
in this rain, and the conditions, and Mitchell picks up the first down.
And the clock continues. Watch from the end zone. You're right, the ball he's thrown with accuracy. Mitchell holds on to it even though Jimmy Spencer hits him right at the catch, and he falls forward for the first down. Clock is ticking down to 4 minutes. This is what they needed. They got it with a little over 7 minutes. They're taking time off the clock. They're in a scoring range in the red zone inside the 20.
And the 2 tight end offense. Natron Means bangs into one Bengal, bangs into another.
And the clock stays. They thought they drove him out of bounds. The official says the clock continues to run.
3:44 and counting. Jacksonville trying to wrap up its 2nd straight victory for the first time in more than a year.
Jacksonville has a very good record at home. Only lost once this year in 6, and this will be the 6th game.
And if you look at their schedule down the road, the playoffs are a remote. And we emphasize a remote possibility for Tom Coughlin at 5 and 7. But if they can get to 6 and 7, we'll take a look at the schedule in just a moment here. And it is a favorable schedule down the stretch if Jacksonville can run the table possibly. Brunell, another pass complete. Derek Brown. It'll be 1st and goal, Jacksonville. Bracy Walker ran the big tight end out.
Brunell is doing whatever he wants. He's in a zone right now. Great vision of the field, recognition of defenses and coverages. The naked boot, nobody covers Derek Brown. Picks up another first down.
Spreading the ball around. Mitchell has come up with key receptions. Brown has had a couple of nice catches. Jimmy Smith, a huge game. McCardell had that huge 48-yard touchdown catch in the 3rd quarter, which gave Jacksonville the 27-20 lead. And on the ground, Natron Means has provided the bruising power. The numbers for Mark Brunell, 356 passing yards. He's 21 of 33. As you take a look at the first and second half comparisons, well, he's more than double the output in the second half.
With the completion percentage, when you only miss 2 attempts, you're 15 to 17. You're going to do some things right. You're going to do some good things. I'm just impressed with his vision of the field. How he's a very poised quarterback, but he's seeing the field so well right now.
2nd down and goal. Natron Means slipped a little bit low to the ground as he pumped his way down to about the 2-yard line as we approach the 2-minute warning.
Cincinnati's trying to call a timeout.
And the Bengals do indeed call a timeout, so that leaves Cincinnati with just 1 timeout left. They need a big defensive stand here as they trail at 27-20. Another big passing day for Mark Brunell, who leads the NFL in passing yards, Bart, but his offensive line up front has done a heck of a job protecting him. He has not been sacked all game long.
The offensive line has done a good job. Here's the guy coming into the game, the most sacked quarterback in the league. See Leon Searcy there, free agent offensive tackle from Pittsburgh. On the other side, they've got Tony Baselli, the first-round pick last year. These guys are a good offensive group. They've got the 2 tackles that can last for years and years, and they've got some good inside guys. They've shown today that they can pass block, and they've done enough run blocking, done good enough on the runs to help them be in a position to win the game.
This an important play here. 3rd and goal from the 2. If Cincinnati can hold Jacksonville to a field goal, then it would have a lot better chance of perhaps coming back in this game with only a field goal and touchdown needed. Brunell gets pressured and simply throws this one away. Dixon was applying the pressure on Brunell.
He was either throwing it away or he saw somebody in the first row of the stands eligible. But a good move, though. Make sure that that ball was not going to be intercepted. They've gone to the well a number of times with that rollout at naked bootleg. Been very effective with it. Cincinnati was prepared for it, and they forced him to throw the ball when he wasn't ready.
So on comes Mike Hollis, a perfect 4 for 4 today. This will be a 20-yard chip shot. That's a new Jaguars record. You have to keep in mind this is just the 2nd year of existence of Jacksonville, but perfect 5 for 5 now for Mike Hollis.
He also holds the all-time Jaguar record for field goals too, right?
Yes, just keeps extending his record with every swoop of his leg, Bart.
That's particularly when you've been the only kicker in franchise history.
30-20, Jacksonville leads it. Let's get another update on Neil O'Donnell from New York. Greg?
Well, Don, the misery never ends for the New York Jets. Neil O'Donnell out since the 6th of October with a separated shoulder due to start today. Pulled a right calf muscle in pregame warm-ups. He will not play today. Frank Reich will get the start against the Houston Oilers. Dan?
Unbelievable.
That
Jets misfortunes.
Talking about being snake bit. There's a situation where the guy just gets his shoulder healthy. I know Neil. I'm pretty good friends with Neil, and I mean, if there's anything he wants, is to be on the field, playing and contributing. There's a lot of responsibility at that position, particularly coming to New York, the big contract that he got from leaving Pittsburgh. He wanted to come in and do well this year. It's just, I feel for him with the injuries that he's suffered so far this year.
Well, you saw Jeff Blake and Bruce Coslet talking things over. They need a couple of scores in a hurry. 2:04 remaining. Bengals trail by 10. Jacksonville seemingly moving closer to breaking the Bengal hex.
Good job by Jacksonville. The 12-play drive eating up almost 6 minutes.
Hollis kicks what looked like a spiral to David Dunn, and Dunn dropped quickly at the 17. And Cincinnati will have to start deep in its own territory as we've now reached the 2-minute warning. Jaguars trying to hang on for their 2nd straight win. In his short tenure here as the head coach in Cincinnati, 4 wins and 5 tries, but Jacksonville with a 10-point lead. A minute 56 left. Cincinnati with just 1 timeout left. They need 2 scores.
You see Cincinnati's playoff hopes becoming extinct here too with a loss.
And Carl Pickens has the ball. I'm sure they'll call him down as he fumbles it, as he picks up. I like that extinct.
Thank you, thank you. And the clock did stop. Ball came loose, but after it hit the ground.
Cincinnati right to the line. The clock wound now. A minute 40. Darnay Scott with a nice catch. Scott should pick up another first down, so Cincinnati on the move. Mickey Washington on the coverage.
Jacksonville will give them these inside routes, 10-yard routes, all the way down the field. Keep them in bounds, keep the clock running.
Eric Bieniemy couldn't hang on.
Bieniemy, usually a reliable third down back guy they go to in situations like this, has made a lot of big plays, took his eye off the ball a little bit early. From the end zone, Blake is going to be looking deep, only bringing 3 guys. He wants to go deep. but the safeties, they're just not going to let them. They're playing 3 deep. Dumps it off to Bieniemy, and Bieniemy doesn't make the catch.
Rain has continued to fall the entire game. John Carter picks up the first down. Carter inside the 45-yard line. Robert Massey brings down Carter. Clock stops at 1:07 as Cincinnati burns its final timeout.
They keep him in bounds, John Carter. They keep him in bounds. Force them to use that last timeout. Jacksonville is doing a good job of keeping the Cincinnati offensive players in front of them, keeping them in the middle of the field and away from the sidelines. They don't want to allow them to use the sidelines as easy timeouts.
Reminder coming up next on most of these NBC stations, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. The Dolphins take on the Oakland Raiders. Miami trying to stay alive in the playoff picture. The Oakland Raiders probably playing for pride at 5-7. Nevertheless, you can bet the silver and black will be ready for Jimmy Johnson and the Miami Dolphins. That's coming up next, right here on NBC. Bengals trail by 10, 30-20. They're out of timeouts with just over a minute left. At Jacksonville 44.
Jaguars are playing their safeties almost 20 yards deep.
Blake has 20 yards in front of him. Slides into the 31. Clock will continue to roll, and Blake will continue to hurry the Bengals to the line of scrimmage.
They get a first down, but it's at the cost of a lot of seconds.
And Blake just downs it, stops the clock with 48 seconds left. We mentioned Jacksonville's favorable schedule down the stretch. That if they can hold on here, they will go to 6-7. There's the favorable schedule for Jacksonville. As you take a look at the records, at Houston, that will not be an easy game, but then they've got Seattle at home and the Falcons at 2-10 at home. So
it's favorable, but
you never know.
You never know in this league. And there are no easy games. They're all going to be tough. It's a battle every week.
This time the enemy holds on. Met quickly at the 25-yard line.
He does not get out of bounds.
Kevin Hardy over there. The clock will roll.
We haven't mentioned Kevin Hardy's name too much today. He's the guy that's been in there, made a lot of big plays for this defense. Terrific range.
You knew it had to come sooner or later. Walking left to Pickens! And that time he gets a gift. Unbelievable. Oh, third touchdown for Pickens.
Bucky Brooks jumps up. He tips the ball. He tips it over 2 Jacksonville defenders into the hands of Carl Pickens, who gets his 3rd touchdown reception of the day.
You knew that Blake sooner or later was going to lob it up to Pickens to see if they could get it. Clearly, Jacksonville had the position here. Let's take another look and see how it ended up in Pickens' arms.
It's like a short Hail Mary pass.
That was Bucky Brooks.
It looks like Bucky should have a white shirt on there because he tipped it over.
3 Jaguar defenders. The reaction from Blake, he says, I'll take it.
Thank you.
7 touchdowns in 4 games against Jacksonville by Carl Pickens.
6 in the last 2 games.
4 of those touchdowns have come in the 4th quarter. Pelfrey's kick gets through. And that produces a little bit of drama here at the end.
In likely fashion for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got to make this a close contest. Coughlin said they've been bizarre games in which one team or another, either Jacksonville has made it close or the other team has made it close.
Pickens, 7 catches, and that last one puts him over the 100-yard mark. 109 yards for Pickens. He had 176 yards last week, so huge days for Pickens for Cincinnati and a big day for Jimmy Smith on the other sideline.
Pickens had the big first half of the 2 touchdowns and had almost 100 yards reception in the first half. They've done a good job in containing him, except on that play. He had 3 guys making a play on the ball, and Bucky just happened to tip the ball to Carl Pickens.
So there'll be no secret here. It'll be the onside attempt made by Doug Pelfrey.
In the last game these two teams met, they had an onside kick at the end of the game, except it was Jacksonville doing the onside kicking. They have the hands team out. They call them the hands team. You notice if you look out there, they're all what you call the skill players. You won't see any linemen out there. You don't see any 50 numbers. They're those 80s and 20s and 30s, the DBs and the receivers, guys who handle the ball.
So here we go. Now the officials have stopped the play as Jacksonville has called a timeout. You know, Lee Johnson is standing out there right behind the football with Pelfrey. It appears that there might be some trickery involved.
It gives him the option of doing an onside kick to the left or the right.
That's interesting. Pelfrey came out onto the field, put the ball down, but Lee Johnson, the punter, who also holds for Pelfrey, was right behind the football as if he might have a stab at it as well.
You've got 4 Bengals are lined up on the Cincinnati side of the field. You've got 5 Bengals lined up on the Jacksonville side of the field. 2 guys that have the potential to kick the ball onside. So Jacksonville just matches up. They have to put 4 or 5 guys on both sides of the field to match up to prevent them from kicking the ball either the left or the right side.
15 seconds left. Jacksonville with a 3-point lead. The Bengals got in within 3 on an amazing touchdown catch by Pickens, and now Pelfrey seemingly will kick this, but Lee Johnson is right there. Both put up their hands, signaling, "Are we ready?" And it'll be Lee Johnson who goes the other way in a little pooch kick, which sails out of bounds.
Lee wanted to just get the ball up in the air. He kicks the ball out of bounds without touching it. No one was able to touch the ball. So they pick it up, and they move it back 5 yards to the 25. You got some of the linemen. Tony Baselli's out on the field, and Leon Searcy.
Croslet not happy at all.
The kick. The kick went 21 yards, and by rule that is not an onside kick. Jacksonville's ball, first down.
There you have it.
My, oh my. Obscure ruling.
That is obscure. I've never heard that.
The rule must be
that it was not an onside kick because it traveled 21 yards.
21. If it travels 19, see if Tom knows what it is.
I don't think either coach knew. Well, you know, he's
pointing.
I don't think anyone knew. That is obscure.
The ball is on the 49. They kicked it from the 50. Went 21 yards. Game is over with.
Takes a knee, and that is the game. Cincinnati made an effort to try to win it dramatically, or at least get a chance for a field goal, but Bruce Coslet will lose his second for Cincinnati since taking over as head coach. The Bengals fall to 5-8, and Jacksonville wins 2 in a row. They are 6-7. Once again, the final score, 30 for Jacksonville, 27 for Cincinnati. Coming up next on most of these stations, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader, Oakland and Miami. That's coming up next here on NBC. So for Bart Oates, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Jacksonville. The NFL on NBC is a presentation of NBC.